it's Caroline here from PC Games N, and we are coming to you from Gamescom. Well, sort of Gamescom. Cologne, but Gamescom.
Convention Centre's that way.
Yeah, it's over there somewhere. But I'm joined by Mr. Richard Scott Jones, who has the most amazing name ever for cameras, which is awesome. But I'm about to talk to you about the game that you saw today that you said was incredible. What's it called?
It's Humankind, yeah, and it was the game that I'm looking forward to the most out of the show. We knew it would be Amplitude's new 4X game, which would be kind of their Civ killer, or well, Civ killer is a little bit sort of needlessly aggressive in sort of terminology, but it's the game they're hoping to sort of capture the same space and capture a little bit of the same audience as Civ.
So there's all this hype about this game killing Civ, right? You know, just taking market away, taking, gamers away. Do you think from what you've seen today that could happen?
Yeah, short answer, yes. I mean, it's probably about the right time in Civ's own life cycle to release this, because it's been a while since Civ 6 came out. Firaxis haven't entirely ruled out the possibility of another expansion. Like, they keep sort of leaving the question open and debatable. So, and I think if I remember correctly, Humankind is due next year. So it might be a while before Civ 7. It might be a while before a total reset or a refresh of Civ 6, or of Civ as a series. So potentially, like, there are some people maybe looking for something similar but different and next year. So I think it's a sensible move in that respect. There are a couple of important points in which it's different.
Yeah.
That I should probably talk about. One is the fact that Amplitude have obviously learned a lot from the games that they've already made so far, like Endless Legend in particular. Their other land-based 4X as opposed to a space-based 4X. They've talked a lot about the things they're taking from that and bringing into Humankind. And the other big selling point is this new idea where you're not actually one Civ throughout the entire game. You'll pick a starting Civ. No, actually, you won't. You'll start as a generic tribe of hunter-gatherers, and then when you've gathered enough food, that's when you can found your first city, and that's when you pick your first Civ. And you'll have a choice of 10. If the gameplay presentation that I watched remains true to the final version, and each does have each does have a unique unit, a unique building, and a trait, or at least some did. They'll have sort of 3 key differentiating qualities. And then what's cool about these is that you looked around a little bit at this point. You've got an idea about what local conditions are like, and so your choice will be partly informed by that. And then when you move into a new era, what you'll do is you'll pick another Civ to sort of assimilate into your own culture, another culture to assimilate into your own Civ. And what I really liked about this idea is that the way it's justified. The devs say, no civilization in human history was ever really just one Civ throughout its entire existence or throughout history. Like the example they gave was the Egyptians, who were a powerful Bronze Age Civ in their own right, but then they were massively influenced by the Greeks. They were conquered by the Romans. They were conquered again by the Muslims, or became a Muslim nation later in history. So, no Civ is entirely itself, or is an entirely sort of pure version of itself throughout history. And they're sort of replicating that, which is a really, really interesting idea, and obviously completely different from Civ.
Is there anything that you think you would like to see added in there that maybe you didn't see, or something that really you saw that was incredible and that you're so glad is now coming to this kind of, this genre?
I miss things like the leader screens. Well, I didn't see much evidence. So what I really enjoy about Civ is the flavor and one of many things that I enjoy about Civ is the flavor and the sort of sense of place. So, you've got leader screens where there are brightly animated leaders who sort of come to life and sort of really sell the personality, or are designed to sell the personality of who they represented in real life. The backdrops and things. I mean, my favorites are still Civ 5, because I think environment is an important part of it as well. But I do enjoy the personality that Civ 6 brought to it. I don't know if there's an equivalent of the Civilopedia. If there was, they didn't show it. There may well be. I certainly hope there is. There's just the chance to sort of learn a little bit about history and sort of enjoy and relish in the sense of place and the sense of environment. There were no similarly animated leader screens in Humankind that I saw, but there were. There's still like a lovely level of attention to detail, and like they clearly understand the importance of flavor. So they talked a lot about. I had a brief chat with them afterwards, and they talked a lot about the attention to detail that they have on the map, for instance. And the world map, I have to say, is beautiful. Like really, really rich, lush colours, lots of vibrancy, lots of attention to detail. Like there are lots of little sort of foxes scampering around. There are super huge like woolly mammoths and things which look as intimidating as they would have been to. And so they're scaled differently according to whether or not you can interact with them. So these foxes, they're not necessarily supposed to be noticed. They're just there if you're looking for them. Whereas a mammoth is like huge and like exaggerated in scale, so that you can know that you're supposed to attack it and hunt it. But yeah, they look as frightening as they should. And then there are the units as well. So there were, I don't want to say this for certain, but like when we saw a look at a battle, and as with Endless Legend, I mean, this is something that what I mentioned earlier, the things they've taken from Endless Legend into this. The armies unstack and then they fight on the land, and you have control of each individual unit now, so you can positioning is really important, and working with the terrain is really important as well, more important than it is in Civ. And yeah, when the armies unstack and you see the units, there's lovely attention to detail there. Like, the culture we were playing had been the Romans in a previous life, and they had Praetorian Guardsmen, clearly a Roman unique unit, and they would make the turtle formation by holding their shields up and putting their shields up in front. And I just thought that was a really lovely touch. So yeah, I mean, there are unique units there, but there are also I want to say that the line infantry we saw in the same army, they looked generic enough to be a generic unit that all civs will get access to. So hopefully you have a mix of both.
So then, in your opinion, to finish us off, are you excited for this game? And do you think it's going to live up to the hype and the expectations that I'm sure a lot of people are now putting on this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's too early to say for sure, or to be like super confident about that. I don't want to, be too definitive after just seeing sort of 20 minutes or so, but I mean, I'm definitely still on the hype train. I knew a little bit about it before it was announced, and like everything that I heard about it, made by Amplitude, who've made, like, I loved Endless Space 1 and Endless Legend. Still haven't really played enough of Endless Space 2, but it looks great. Yeah. I think they're a great studio. I think I think Civilization, or sort of the chance to play through human cultures throughout history, that you could have another competitor in that genre for sure. It could stand to have a few more people knocking around trying to do the same thing. I'm glad they're trying to pull it off. I'm glad that it's that studio pulling it off. Everything that I've seen so far looks terrific. I can't wait to play more.
Good words, good words. So we're excited to see, and we hope that you guys at home are excited too. Thank you so much for watching, and if you want to see more cool content coming out of Gamescom, probably I'm just going to grab Rip for some more interviews. Make sure to like and subscribe to PC Games Then. We will see you next time. See ya!